Do you think that there are secrets to being wealthy which the rich people do not tell you? And since you have clicked on this video, you really want to know how you can be the next millionaire or multimillionaire, isn't it? So let's begin. Robert Kiyosaki in this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, tells of his two dads. One died leaving tens of millions of dollars to his family, charities, and his church. The other left bills to be paid. His poor dad had a PhD and completed 4 years of undergraduate work in less than 2 years. And first of all, let's clarify some old norms. Being rich is not about being highly educated in school education. Learning can help. One of the most profound lessons from this book is the power of financial literacy. While our formal education system teaches us a lot of things, it often straight away neglects subject of money. Rich Dad, on the other hand, emphasizes that true wealth is not determined by how much you earn, but how effectively you can manage your wealth and how effectively you can grow your money. And the key to doing this lies in acquiring financial education or financial IQ and continuously expanding it. Houses and cars are not an asset. Another crucial aspect that comes to being rich is the difference between assets and liability. Buying a bigger house or driving a flashy car is a sign of success. This is what poor dad believed. However, rich dad actually taught that these are actually liabilities. The actual definition or the actual difference between assets and liabilities comes like this. Things that take money out of your pocket is a liability. Instead, you should focus on acquiring income generating assets. Assets are basically the things which puts money into your pocket. And this is something that Robert Kiyosaki has also mentioned in his interviews or the Rich Dad show that he takes. Instead, you should focus on acquiring income generating assets. It can be real estate, stocks, or a profitable business. By accumulating assets, you can create a solid foundation for long-term wealth and financial independence. At the end of this video, I have also mentioned how you can convert liability into an asset. So stay tuned for that. If this video is adding some value to your life and you are watching so far, then make sure to hit the subscribe button. It helps a lot to the YouTube algorithm and promoting such valuable content. And so now let's continue with the video. The rat trap. Most people are familiar with this term. It is the exhausting cycle of working tirelessly to pay the bills with no end in sight. Poor dad's advice was to work hard, climb the corporate ladder, and hope for a secure retirement. Rich dad, however, believed in leveraging the power of investments and creating passive income streams that would allow everyone to follow this advice and break free from the rat race and enjoy a life of freedom and abundance. This advice challenges the traditional notion of work until retirement and opens up a world of possibilities. And the main reason why most people do not get rich in due course of time is because as their income from their paycheck grows, they start spending more on liabilities. They don't focus on building their asset column. So their expenses increase, and at times the income is not at all sufficient to meet all the needs of their expenses. The rich, on the other hand, they build up their asset column first, and then their asset column is responsible to spend for their liabilities. The key difference though between the rich and the poor is explained very well through this diagram. The rich first earn, spend, and then pay taxes, while the poor and middle class first earn, pay tax, and then spend all that is left on creating liabilities. Now that you know what an asset and a liability is, if there is some accumulation of liabilities, how can you actually convert that liability into assets? So the first thing that comes here is to start generating or start converting that liability into an asset so that that asset creates cash flow for you. Now you might think that something that takes money out of your pocket, how can that thing become an asset for you? But you will be amazed to know that this is possible. How can I do it is the question Rich Dad tells everyone to ask. Your mind is your biggest asset. And so it is capable of converting many of your liabilities into an asset. For example, let's say you have a house and you have some vacant rooms in it, or it is currently not at all occupied. You can simply rent it out and it can generate cash flow for you. This is how houses can be an asset. Or let's say you have a vehicle which you do not drive often. Same here, just rent it out and it can simply create cash flow. And this is something which can be true for many of your things. Currently there are a lot of opportunities which you can use to like rent out furnitures or things like that, and you can create really great assets which can create this cash flow. But this is something which can go opposite as well. If you do not know how to utilize your mind as an asset, then you will surely miss a lot of opportunities, and thus your assets can even turn into a liability. So you need constant learning. For this topic of constantly learning, this video will be a bit lengthy, but in one of my previous videos, you can find the link somewhere on the top and in the description as well. I have mentioned the best resource that you can use to achieve the same results. Click on this one to know more, and also hit that like button and the subscribe button as well to get such content in the future as well. Radhe Radhe.